Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to another new episode of What If Naruto Was in the Marvel Universe. If you guys enjoy this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. Before we get into it though, check out Bilibili Comics. Bilibili Comics is the official trusted place to read hit exclusive series from top creators. Bilibili Comics is a great online webtoons and webcomics reader among all reading apps. Enjoy the best new comics, manhwa, and exclusive webtoons on Bilibili Comics. Download the app now and jump right into it. The link is in the description. Now let's start this video. Triskelion, Washington DC. January 26, 2007, 10 o'clock local. I'm better, she said. We'll find him in a week, she said. Barton said out loud while sitting on his desk, sorting out files. How many times would I need to say I'm sorry? Natasha shouted, her face showing visible signs of stress only covered by light makeup. The duo had been following around Naruto for almost 2 years. At first, every time he showed up, they would check it out personally. But they quickly realized how futile it is. He can be in Rio in 1 minute to show up in Seoul the next. After 3 months of cat and mouse, they finally gave up. His cloning and teleportation ability must have a high limit, if not limitless. His clones must have the ability to disintegrate too, since there's no trace of his clones anywhere. It's like they just vanish in a puff of smoke. Sorry Nat. I just seriously hate this guy right now. For God's sake, he's making us look bad, and it's not like he's really hiding. He knows who we are. He's taunting us, that piece of shit. Barton exclaimed. His frustration is getting the best of him. He sent another package, didn't he? Natasha asked, already knowing the answer. Yes, he sent another fucking package. Barton confirmed. What did it say, and what does he want? Some Iranian general is going to Budapest to buy some plutonium. He'll send the details if we leave him a cargo container of groceries, more than half of which are ramen, on the port of New York by tomorrow night. The good kind, he says. He's not even trying to hide it anymore. Natasha said her observation with a small smile. She can admit to herself that the situation they are in is hilarious. He's making us do his groceries. Us. He's making S.H.I.E.L.D. do his groceries. We can't even track him with anything. 6 months after Naruto's disappearance, chatter about an information broker. Law enforcement, military, and spy agencies around the world are receiving packages with incomplete information and a price. The one similarity that stood out between all of them is that they're signed as Nine Tails using the native language. No one initially took it seriously until a relatively wealthy businessman was kidnapped, and his family is forced to pay a ransom well above their means. The LAPD, rapidly losing time, received a package. The chief of police opened it. Inside is information about the case not shown to the media, the first name of the suspect, and the price, a king-size bed to be left in front of the H of the Hollywood sign before 6 p.m. The chief informed the family about the possible information and its cost, explicitly saying that it has no guarantee. They immediately took the deal as time is running out. They bought a premium $7,500 bed with pillows, and a police van brought it to the agreed-upon spot. SWAT was left to see who will take it, but to their surprise, it just suddenly vanished. Even the bugs and trackers were left behind. At precisely 6 p.m., another package was received. Still, this time, it contains the information of the kidnappers, their location, blueprints, and a video was seemingly taken outside and inside the building. Checking out the information was easy enough, and they confirmed that everything seems authentic. LAPD immediately did a rescue operation, and it was a success. News about the authenticity of the information broker spread throughout the world like wildfire. Fury immediately sent a team to find the information broker to no avail. He was about to assign it to a secondary priority status, until he received a package from the broker, placed on his table. The possibility of the broker to have enough reach to put a box on his table already sets him on edge. The information inside outlined the presence of a terrorist cell that uses possible alien tech, the price for further details, a decommissioned Quinjet to be left in a hangar in Reagan Airport. Fury accepted the deal and left a fully functional Quinjet, not a decommissioned one, in the hangar, but not before leaving a bunch of trackers and cameras in the jet and the hangar. In case all of this doesn't work, the functional Quinjet can be tracked down remotely. He was confident he could find out who the broker is, until he saw the jet fade in front of the camera, leaving behind everything that he added, including the built-in tracker. That's when it suddenly clicked. They can't find the broker since he might be the person they can't find already. Naruto probably built an information network and selling it himself. This was only confirmed by the whisker drawings in the package he received after the payment. 2 months after that event, a different type of package arrived at the office of the Field Marshal of the United Kingdom. It still has its information and a price, but the purpose is wholly different. It states that after the payment, he would do the mission himself, something like a mercenary. The Field Marshal checked the information and figured out why the broker offered to do the task himself. An English journalist is captured by the Taliban and taken to a fortified hideout. The mission would likely cause high casualty before even retrieving her. That's why he decided to accept the deal, but still sending SAS units near the area. The following day, the SAS units reported that the journalist appeared in the middle of their camp, unbound, but with a sack over her head. The bag itself has a face drawn on it with whiskers. Interviewing the journalist yielded no clue to the broker's identity. This incident opened up a new avenue for the broker, not only selling information, but also selling his services. Luring him into a trap to ascertain his identity proved futile, since he's the one who chooses which group or person he would offer his services. The only upside is that the people could see is that he only seems to help the good, weak, or vulnerable. The governments, on the other hand, wants him for their own. He is already considered a thorn to all the organized crime groups, terrorists, and some politicians. They pulled their resources to place a bounty on the broker's head, which is currently at $740 million. In retaliation, the broker pranked all of them. To this day, the only persons who are sure that the Nine Tails and Naruto are the same people are Fury, Barton, Coulson, and Romanov. Other organizations are still speculating who it is. You going to accept the deal? Natasha asked after Barton finally calmed down. As much as I don't want to, Fury already green-lighted it. The cargo should be arriving any second now. Barton answered. Did he place trackers on it? Yep, for all the good it's gonna do. Did he say if he's gonna do it? No. Fury's going to send us to wherever the information says. Too high risk to send some other team. Anyway, did they find Banner already? Natasha said, changing the topic to something less stressful. Not yet, but the military is taking point in this one. It's their screw-up. Thunderbolt's heading the op. That's a disaster waiting to happen, Natasha commented. He's furious about the broker not sending him anything. He's been spewing that the broker is working against US interest. Barton recalled the meeting Fury took him. The two chatted for a few minutes until Natasha noticed something on Clint's desk. Looks like you got a package, Natasha said, pointing behind Clint. This is one of the infuriating things about Naruto. He can somehow get in and out anywhere. Clint turned around and saw a box. I really hate him, Clint said through gritted teeth. He stood up and opened the box. Inside are various tapes, photographs, and a folder. All must be damning evidence against the general. The folder also includes floor plans of the hotel and approximate hostel numbers. It looks like we're going to Budapest, Barton said before standing up and taking the box with him. Natasha followed close behind him. Malibu, Los Angeles, California. January 26, 2007, 1800 hours local. Naruto finally decided to cash in on Tony's bet. He's been traveling the world, but he spent most of his time in Kyoto, enjoying the nostalgia the place made him feel. He saw as much as he can see without relying too much on his clones, only using them as a diversion. But travel is not the only thing he did. Naruto finally managed to build up his information network that encompasses the world. He sold his information as planned, but not for cash, only for goods he needs or wants. Naruto made sure that he only helps the people in the right. He really wanted to save everyone, but Jiyuki's argument made him act otherwise. You can't save everyone, and even if you can, you shouldn't. You would be the crutch of the world. You would prevent them from growing. Even God does not help everyone, Jiyuki advised him. Naruto's mercenary work, on the other hand, is due to his boredom in Kurama. He's always been an active person, always wanting to do something. Kurama's solution is to do the hard jobs himself, which helped him relieve a lot of his tension. But the information network and the mercenary work didn't consume most of his time, it was setting up his business. He needed a front to launder his money and a base of operation for each place or country. His great idea is to establish a Japanese-style fast food restaurant with on-site living arrangements for workers. He named it Shakugakure, or Hidden Food Village, an obvious pun for the Hidden Villages system. The spiral symbol of the Uzumakis was used as the logo for his business. He blew through his cash just to set up the company, and had required for him to steal some money from terrorists and crime groups. It took him a year just to start the business and make it look legit, including establishing identities for the manager of each place. Hiring people has also been a problem since he needs to find someone relatively trustworthy and train them up to acceptable levels. He focused on hiring people who are in the lower class and aimed to help them up. The easiest part, on the other hand, is encouraging customers to eat there. Aside from the delicious meals comparable to 5-star restaurants while still using relatively cheap ingredients, he used Fuinjutsu in everything he can get away with. Fuinjutsu is one of the most versatile stuff he ever learned. It can almost anything you can imagine, even bending space-time. The only problem is, his business needs to stay under the radar. It means he can't use Fuinjutsu to create his own electricity or extract water from the air. But through hard and continuous thinking, he found where he can use it, attracting customers. Most, if not all, of the printed Uzumaki symbol used by his restaurant is a Fuin designed explicitly to attract customers. It implants a minor genjutsu that places a suggestion into everyone's subconscious to eat a shakugakurei. Since it's embedded in your psyche, any conscious choice to eat somewhere else would still happen, but the choice of eating at shakugakurei would always be in their minds. It also has multiple security features like implanting the thought of not examining the symbol. The best part is, almost no one can counteract it due to their atrophied chakra network. In the 7 months his restaurant's been operational, he already has acquired a hefty profit from both sides of his business. He's already traveled the world and made his system partially automated due to his clones. It's finally time to learn more stuff from the best. Naruto headed straight to the cliffside house of Tony Stark, forgetting to call ahead first. He jumped over the fence while still subconsciously using his stealth to move around. He walked past the gate and knocked straight at the door. This threw the recently upgraded AI of Tony, Jarvis, or just a rather very intelligent system, for a loop. It was added to the house system and the company's servers 4 months ago when Tony finally achieved pseudo-AI status with Jarvis. It started as a simple PDA assistant that he named after his family butler that died a few years back. Continuous tinkering and upgrades have made Jarvis more intelligent and sophisticated. "Good morning, sir. May I ask who you are, and how did you get past the gates?" Jarvis asked while already informing the residents of the guest. Naruto jumped backward and looked around for where the voice came from. Seeing no one around, he figured it might be from a speaker. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, a friend of Tony, and I just jumped over the fence to get here," Naruto answered. The fence he is referring to is a 10 feet high wall. "Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Uzumaki. I'm Jarvis, an AI built by Mr. Stark. I have already informed the residents of your arrival." Jarvis introduced himself. Naruto had read about those AIs or artificial intelligence, and was surprised that Tony already built one. Every book he read says it's still about 1 or 2 generations away. While thinking about how Tony managed to build an AI, he heard the sound of running from inside the house, and muffled shouting that seems like "Get back here." Naruto got down on his fighting stance, preparing for whatever might happen when the door opens. As the steps got closer, Naruto tensed up to prepare an opening attack. When the door opened, he started to attack but immediately held himself back, surprised at what he saw. With his body still in a fighting pose, he dumbfoundedly said, "Hello there, I'm Naruto. What's your name?" Stark Mansion, Los Angeles, California. January 26, 2007, 18:30 local. "Hello there, I'm Naruto. What's your name?" There's a few seconds of awkward silence before it was broken. "What are you doing?" Tony asked. "Introducing myself," Naruto said plainly. Before that, Tony asked again, indicating to the fighting positions Naruto's still in. "I heard shouting and running. What was I supposed to think?" Naruto defended himself. "Not attacking just anyone who comes out," Tony said in a deadpan voice. Naruto finally relaxed his posture after this and stared again at Tony's arms. "Hi. I'm Naruto. How are you, little lady?" Naruto asked with a friendly smile. "Again, what are you doing?" Tony asked with a weird look in his face. "I'm introducing myself. It's polite." Naruto emphasized the last part with a nod. "She's like 9 months old. She can barely even talk." "How would I know?" Naruto said with a pout. Pepper finally showed up behind Tony. When Naruto saw Pepper place her hand on Tony's back, he finally put it all together. His face immediately brightened up with a smile and let 6 feet into the air, which surprised both of them. When he landed, Pepper had the presence of mind to pull him into the house before anyone can see him, but Naruto's mood could not be deterred. "I knew it. I knew it," he repeatedly said while jumping around. Tony and Pepper just keep on looking at him, waiting for him to calm down. "When did it happen? And she's your baby, right? Come on, don't leave me hanging here. Okay? You guys catch up. I'm going to take Morgan to bed." Pepper took the now named Morgan from Tony's arms and retreated. She's going to wait out the excitement before coming back down. "Jarvis, call me the moment they try to leave the house. I don't want another Bianchi incident," Pepper said before retreating. "Of course, Miss Potts," Jarvis answered. Tony and Naruto watched Pepper leave before Tony led Naruto to the kitchen. "Help yourself with anything," Tony said, pointing to the refrigerator and the cupboards. "You have ramen?" Naruto asked automatically. Tony sighed and pointed at the rightmost cupboard. He should have guessed that Naruto would eat ramen. Naruto immediately went to the cupboard and prepared himself a cup of ramen using the microwave. When it was done, he promptly unsealed metal chopsticks from his pocket and retrieved the cup. He placed it on the island and sat down. When Tony saw Naruto finally settle down, he finally started the conversation. "What have you been up to all this time?" Tony asked. "Traveling mostly. Been around almost every major city I can get to. Started my own business with the money I took one from you guys." This sent a wince in Tony's face, remembering the beatdown he received. "Took me a while to set it all up, that's why it took so long to drop by." Naruto finished before slipping another strand of ramen. "Good for you. What business did you open?" Tony asked, genuinely curious what business an over-energetic ramen-addicted force of nature Naruto would open. I opened a Japanese-style fast food restaurant chain, Naruto said flippantly. That's when a thought ran through Tony's mind. Don't tell me Japanese-style fast food opened in the last 2 years. Why I haven't I thought of it. Tony thought rapidly. Stark Industries had been aiming to branch out in the past 2 years. They've been discussing it for a while, and numerous suggestions have been thrown around, but no one seems to agree on where they should head next. Not until a board member suggested to buy out a new up-and-coming fast food chain, Shakugakure. Everyone was skeptical at first until the same board member brought takeout from the place. They were immediately hooked, and everyone agreed to buy out the company. The only problem is, no one knew who the owner is. The restaurant seemingly appeared out of nowhere with all the supply chain and staff in place. There's no clear command structure since each branch seems to operate on its own, but they are all the same, indicating that one person owns it all. They tried to find the name of the corporate owner through back channels, private detectives, and even government records, but all of it yielded any useful clue. Each place seemed to be registered to the manager with no hard evidence of being a franchise. Tony already pulled the idea due to the lack of progress 2 weeks ago, but it looks like some development might happen today. You're the owner of Shakugakure? Tony asked. Yup. You heard of it? Tony shook his head in affirmative. Awesome. How'd you manage to do that? It would have cost you several $100 million to start that many branches at once. Tony said his company analyst reports. Same way I did with you. Only on a smaller scale. Naruto lied. I'm going to ask you about that anyway. Do you want to own the corporation partially? Tony was ecstatic about the development, but stopped himself. He's still a businessman, even a lazy one. Would you want to sell it? Tony cautiously asked. I'm not selling it. I'm giving 35% of the profits to you so someone else can handle the day-to-day operations. Naruto said while slipping the leftover soup of his ramen. Tony quickly computed the returns in his mind. 45%, and it's a deal. Tony countered. Alright. But I want an increase in your stocks. How's that, by the way? Naruto asked suddenly, remembering what the rest of the money he left went to. You now own 8% of my company. You originally had 3%, but every time you make a profit, 90% of it goes into buying new stocks. The rest is placed into a bank account. I don't know the specifics since Pepper handled most of it. Tony said, remembering about Naruto's portfolio, which is absurd with its growth. It's like his gambling skills. Any investments that use Naruto's account rarely lose money. Awesome. That means I can be a board member, right? We can work together. Naruto said excitedly. Not exactly, at least not right away. Tony reluctantly said. Most of your stocks are in different shell companies. You still need to make a transfer to make it wholly yours. Pepper surely won't like the idea of Naruto as a board member. It would create a more chaotic work environment for everyone. Eh? That's easy. Naruto said dismissively. Anyway, don't think I forgot about you. So what happened with you and Pepper? Tony sighed, hoping not to get into all that. Don't get him wrong, he's really grateful for Naruto's push, but he's still not into all that mushy stuff. You still need to ask. Tony said with a groan. Of course. I'm fully invested in this. Naruto said as his only argument. He continued to look at Tony with hopeful eyes. Fine. Fine. It's like I'm talking to a kid. Tony finally relented. Flashbacks start. It's been 4 months since the Vegas fiasco. Tony and Pepper just came back from a stressful board meeting in New York. Apparently, some of their stocks are unaccounted for, only appearing that they are sold, but no idea to who. This is a normal phenomenon that can be attributed to sales error, but this has been happening more frequently and in larger stocks. This should have been investigated already, but those money-grabbing assholes decided to join together to veto his motion. This should typically not be possible since he has a controlling interest of the company, but the board can veto him, as long as everyone decided no. He really needs to find a way to change that charter. Losing guns is one thing, but losing whole missiles is another. Ugh. Just sleep over tonight, Peps. It's dark out already. Tony suggested. Pepper sleeping over had been a regular occurrence due to her erratic work schedule, but she hasn't slept over ever since Vegas. It's like she's putting some distance between them. But tonight seems like a bit different, and he has no idea how right he is. Alright. Is my room still available? Pepper hesitantly asked. Yeah. Left it as it is. Tony said while hiding a small smile. Pepper walked towards her room, preparing herself for what's to come. She had been keeping a distance to see what Tony would do without her continuously cleaning up his mess, but it looks like her fears are unfounded. Tony didn't spiral into his usual drunk playboy ways, but seemed to clean up his act. He hasn't taken home any floozies since their talk, which has garnered attention from tabloids and TMZ. He still goes to parties and events, but he keeps his act clean, drinking just enough to have a buzz and steering clear from all the bimbos. Pepper already knows that she won't be able to hold herself till the 6 months are up. She can finally see a future with Tony, and the thought still frightens her. What would everyone think when they got together? That she's another one of those gold diggers only with him for his money. She thought back to how it all started and felt herself in an impasse. She doesn't know if she should be thankful or angry at Naruto. Without him in the picture, they wouldn't be in this situation. It's already 2 AM, but she needs to do this now, or she won't be able to gather enough courage to do it again. Pepper changed into a more comfortable attire, pajama shorts, string top shirt, and fluffy flip-flops. Pepper took another deep breath and walked towards the door, intent of having a talk with Tony. What she didn't expect was Tony standing on the other side of the door about to knock. What happened next is what they both consider stupid and right at the same time. Tony kissed Pepper on the lips, seemingly not in control of his actions. When he finally realized what he was doing, he started to pull back, but Pepper had other plans. She looped her arms around Tony and kissed him back. She then pulled Tony inside of her room. Flashback end. Wow. You took a long time. I thought you would be together the moment I left. Naruto said with a sagely nod. Hey. It's not my fault. Tony defended himself. Moving past that, Naruto said, clearly not believing Tony, which hurt him a lot. Why does no one know about Morgan, and when did she come around? Tony took a page from Naruto's book and scratched his head. Flashback start. Tony and Pepper are in a sanitized room in the Stark mansion. All the medical equipment and medicine required before, during, and after the operation. Only Tony, Pepper, Happy, Rhodey, and a medical group who all signed non-disclosure agreements are in the mansion. James Rhodey Rhodes is a 5'8", solidly built, 38 years old, an African-American man. Tony met him during their time at MIT, and they immediately became best friends. Rhodey joined the US Air Force, where he quickly reached the rank of lieutenant colonel, due to his close relationship with Tony, and his skill in being a fighter pilot. His recent assignment is being a liaison with Stark Industries, and a member of the experimental technology branch. Obadiah wasn't informed since he has an obligation to the company, and him knowing about Tony's relationship with Pepper and the birth of their new child would lead for the whole board of directors knowing. Both of them are still not ready exposing their relationship to the world. I'm gonna fucking kill you, Tony. Pepper's shout was heard even outside of the room. I have a new fighter jet in production. I'll give you 3 if you go in there first. Tony said to Rhodey, scared for his well-being. No way, man. I don't want to die for your mess. Rhodey said immediately while walking backward. Tony faced Happy, hoping to bribe him to do the same thing, but Happy cut him off before he could speak. It will only get worse the more time you spend out here and not in there. Realizing that Happy's right, he immediately rushed into the room and sat beside Pepper. What took you so long? Pepper asked between contractions. Rhodey came by to wish you luck. Tony lied immediately. Pepper clearly did not believe him, but another contraction cut her thoughts off. This is all your fault. Pepper shouted again while trying to break Tony's hand. We only have unprotected sex once. She said again, referring to the first time they got together. In a rare moment of self-control, Tony shut his mouth before he could retort to what Pepper said. The medical staff attending to Pepper remained professional throughout the ordeal, but some small bouts of giggles could be heard from time to time. Pepper's labor continued before exactly at 7:43 AM, May 22, 2006, their baby girl was born. The nurse cleaned up their baby and placed her on Pepper's arms. She's so beautiful, Pepper said with a smile and tears streaming down her eyes. Hello. I'm your dad. Tony said to their baby. The only difference his face was to Pepper is that he isn't drenched in sweat. What should we name her? Pepper asked. Morgan. Tony answered. Morgan. I like it, but why Morgan? I had a dream about your Uncle Morgan holding a baby. I don't know. It seems like a sign to me. Pepper was cleaned up a little bit before Tony called Rhodey and Happy in. As soon as they got in, they saw Pepper sitting on the bed with a baby in her arms and Tony sitting beside her. I want you to both meet Morgan Stark. Flashback end. As for why nothing is on the news, I just had a record sealed until I want it to be public. Perks of being rich and powerful. Tony informed Naruto with a smug smile. When are you planning to make it public? Naruto asked. Maybe when she's a year old, but I'm aiming for at most 2 years old. Tony answered. So, where am I sleeping? Naruto asked without missing a beat. Up the stairs, the third room at the right of the left hallway. It has its own bathroom and mini kitchen. Thanks. Naruto stood up. I don't know about you, but I'm beat. Let's finish the business end of stuff tomorrow. Tony nodded and stood up too. They walked toward the stairs and separated with a nod. When Tony got inside the room, he saw Pepper on the bed playing with Morgan. Pepper heard Tony got in the room and asked. How is he? He's doing fine. Tony said while changing into his sleeping attire. He's actually doing more than fine. Did you know he's the owner of Shokugakure you've been looking for? Pepper immediately slumped and placed her face in her hands. How can he be a problem even if he's nowhere close? He's the one I've been looking for a year and a half. Think of it this way. You finally found him. Tony said with a teasing grin. I'm sure now. I hate him. Pepper finally said without any seriousness. Stark Mansion, Los Angeles, California. January 27, 2007, 1600 hours local. So, that's it? Naruto asked after signing the contract. He took Morgan from Pepper's arm and proceeded to make weird faces to make her laugh. Yup, I have 2 days to find someone to manage the whole thing. Tony said while checking over the papers and handing it over to his Pepper to have a read through. Is this thing right? Pepper asked, disbelief evident in her voice. Which part? Naruto asked for clarification, his attention divided between her and playing with Morgan. Most of it, Pepper said, still rifling through the contract. She took the company information page and placed it on the table. Like here. It says that you have 13 branches already with another 57 on the way. I don't really know the numbers, but that seems about right. Naruto answered, now playing with Morgan using a unicorn puppet. Tony and Pepper never saw him pull it out, but they just let it slide. If they question everything they saw Naruto do, they'll rapidly go insane. And it says here you have a branch in Pyongyang. How the heck did you manage that? Pepper corrected herself since they have a no cursing policy in front of Morgan. There's this guy with glasses that really loved my recipe. He tried to force it out of me, but he eventually gave up and agreed to place a branch there. I think his name is Kim Jong something. I just can't seem to remember. Naruto answered again, but now with Morgan wearing a pink fairy princess outfit. Tony and Pepper are gobsmacked that Naruto possibly served food to the North Korean leader, probably got tortured for it, and still got what he wanted. Pepper is now afraid to remove her sight on Naruto and Morgan, due to the genuine possibility of another toy or dress Naruto would pull out of nowhere and give to Morgan. You still want to be in control of hiring of branch managers and them in control of hiring employees. Cause that's still a lot off work. Tony asked Naruto to keep his girlfriend's sanity in place. Yup, is Naruto's only answer. Control of hiring of branch manager means that he can still place his clones to that position, keeping each branch a safe house of his. Naruto stiffened so suddenly that even Tony and Pepper saw it. He immediately placed Morgan on Pepper's arms and said, I gotta go. I'll see you guys in 2 or 3 days. Naruto ran out of the dining room but peeked again before leaving. Have fun with that, he said, pointing to the pile of toys near his sit. The two then heard the front door slam shut. Pepper stood up and faced Tony and said, You cleaned that up since you brought him here. I'm going to change Morgan. Pepper exited the room with Morgan, but before she could get up the stairs, she saw Rhodey walking inside the house. Hi Morgan. Nice dress. Rhodey greeted Morgan first before facing Pepper. Hey Pepper. You see where Tony is? He's in the dining room. Help him first before doing anything else, Pepper ordered before walking up the stairs. Rhodey just shrugged at Pepper's mood and walked towards the dining room. The moment he stepped inside, he saw the pile of toys. What the hell happened here? Rhodey asked. Naruto decided to sell a piece of his company to me. Tony answered plainly without further elaborating. So, Naruto finally decided to show up. Yup. So what do you need? Tony asked while picking up toys. Rhodey decided to help him out before answering. You got anything that could knock out a herd of elephants from a distance? Rhodey asked, remembering the specifications the army gave him to ask. I might have some sonic cannons in production. Budapest, Hungary. January 28, 2007, 1:30 local. Nat, come in. Barton shouted through his comms. His team of 5 is being peppered by gunfire from almost all directions. 2 of them are already injured enough to keep them from fighting. Clint had already exhausted his shafts and arrowheads. He's currently using an AK-47 from a guy he killed earlier. They're exhausted and stressed out. They have been trapped for a while, and long-range communication looks to be jammed. Their only hope is that home base notices their lack of communication. The worst part of all, Natasha has been incommunicado almost from the time she split up at the start of the mission. How the hell did it go all Fuber? Clint asked himself while returning fire. Flashback start. Boss really wants this to go smoothly, doesn't he? Natasha said. Yup, apparently weapons of mass destruction falling to an unhinged general's hand is a bad thing. Who knew? Clint answered sarcastically. The moment the package from the not-so-mysterious broker appeared in S.H.I.E.L.D. detailing an Iranian general buying plutonium, Fury already made up his mind on buying the information. Contrary to popular belief, the WMD the plutonium is going to be used for is not for a conventional nuclear bomb that just goes boom. It's for a weapon that aims to spread nuclear material over a large area. An extreme form of raised earth tactic, it will immediately make an area inhabitable for at least 100 years. When they got the details of the exchange, Fury took no chance and sent an overkill 10-man team, which includes Hawkeye and the Black Widow. The team would take a jet to Hungary, and a group of 6 would disembark. 4 would be left in the plane for backup, and this includes the pilot. As soon as they arrived in Budapest, they surveyed the area and created a plan of attack. Clint would be overwatch, scanning the area for hostiles and unexpected occurrences. Natasha would be the infiltrator, getting as close as possible without alerting the buyer and seller. The rest of the ground troops would be on standby some distance away. There's no time to create cover identities, and besides, it would be no use. The transaction would happen beneath a bridge by the east side of the river at midnight. They would probably remove any bystanders to keep any witnesses to a minimum. Everybody is in position by 10 p.m. The ground team is 50 meters away inside an inconspicuous van parked near the bridge. Nat went above the railings underneath the bridge and went dark to minimize complications. Clint positioned himself at a building 200 meters away with a view of the north side of the bridge. By 11:30, 2 SUVs came in with 4 armed men each. They moved away all the vagrants in the area. They went on high alert in preparation for what's to come. At the stroke of midnight, 6 more cars arrived, 3 from each side of the bridge. 6 guards came down from each side and created a perimeter. All of them were armed with HK-416 rifles. The guards sure mean business. Clint already identified the general, but he still can't see the seller. He needs him to move forward a bit or needs to go to a lower floor. Deciding that going down was his best bet, he collected his items and prepared to move. But before he could leave, he saw a semi-truck rush down the street perpendicular to the bridge, heading straight towards the van with the rest of his team. He rapidly prepared an arrow shot with an explosive tip and aimed it to the truck. But before he could launch it, bullets hitting his general area forced him to take cover. "We're compromised. Bug out. Charlie team, hostile on your way," Clint shouted to his comms. He saw the van drove away, but not before getting targeted by .50 caliber machine guns mounted to the side of the truck. Clint decided that he would be no help to his teammates if he didn't take out the hostiles aiming at him. He peeked over the ledge and saw 4 guys across the river, firing at him. That's particularly impressive since it's almost 700 meters away from him. He returned fire using his explosive tipped arrow. Clint saw that he effectively eliminated the enemy, and decided to help the ground team who is still getting targeted by the truck. He fired multiple arrow types, including incendiary, explosive, and EMP, but nothing seems to be working. Even diamond-tipped arrowheads didn't penetrate the tires. "Get to extract point Alpha. I'll find a way to get there myself," Clint ordered the ground crew, hoping they will lose the truck along the way. He took one last look at the meetup site, and saw everybody was gone. Natasha must have improvised or compromised for her not to radio in. The latter of which is the worst case possible. Clint rappelled down the side street using a rappel line arrow tip. On the alleyway, he quickly rode the Kawasaki KLX 450R he placed for an emergency. He rode hard and fast towards the extract point, while only using the side roads and alleyways to minimize possible contact. When Clint got to an industrial park at the outskirts of the city serving as their extract point, he saw the truck pinning his man down inside the warehouse. He also saw 2 teams trying to get around the warehouse and flank them. He quickly formulated a plan in his mind, and determined that he needs to take out the truck if they want to have any chance of surviving the encounter. He slapped the rest of his explosive and incendiary tips to his bike, and revved it hard towards the container at the back of the truck. The result was simply amazing. The truck went out in a massive blaze, killing everyone inside. Clint runs towards his team while shooting at the flanking teams. He was about to kill the last member of the left flanking team, when he reached out to his quiver and felt no more shafts. He hanged his bow around his body and slid toward the nearest gun, and quickly fired at the enemy. "How are you guys?" Clint asked his team when he finally reached them. "Not looking good, sir. Robertson and Detchel are out, sir. We called for the bird, but we can't seem to get through." A member of his team, Murtaugh, reported, while the other, Esposito, one triages the down members. Barton was formulating an evacuation plan when 4 more vans came. Multiple hostiles dismounted from each of them, making the situation dire. "Fuck. We can't leave now," Clint said to himself. He faced his teammates and said, "We need to make a stand here. Hopefully, the bird would come and check out the situation when they don't receive further contact." Flashback end. "Shit. When would these motherfuckers run out of men?" Clint exclaimed while reloading. He saw Esposito clipped at his shoulder by a bullet, causing him to fall down. Murtaugh tried to help him up, but a shot got through the barrier and hit him near his kidney. Clint effectively became the last man standing when suddenly the gunfire stopped. He took a peek and saw a Harley drive down in front of the vans. Riding on top of it is a long-haired masked man. The most significant characteristic of his is what looks like a left arm made up entirely of metal with a red star near the shoulder. Clint immediately knew who this was. Natasha had been warning him about this boogeyman for quite some time. The Winter Soldier. The assassin who would not stop, and it looks like they're his next target. He immediately took a shot straight to the Winter Soldier's face, but his metal arm quickly stopped it. Before he could fire another shot, the Winter Soldier took a grenade launcher and fired it at his direction. Budapest, Hungary. January 28, 2007, 1 o'clock local. Natasha woke up slowly, her vision still blurry. She shook her head to get rid of some of the cobwebs in her mind. She tried to move, but that immediately proved futile. Her hands, legs, and torso are all bound with leather straps and duct tape. Looking around, she saw that she is in an underground cell. Everything is made of cement except for the heavy-looking red door. She tried to find a way to get out of her predicament, but it looks like Faith had other plans. The door opened, revealing 8 armed guards who immediately surrounded her, while keeping 2 meters of distance away from her. It looks like her captors have some brains. When all the guards are positioned, an old balding Caucasian man with glasses walked in. The guard placed a chair a meter away from her in which the man sat down. "I'm sorry for the restraints, Ms. Romanov. But I'm sure you understand," the man said with a gentlemanly tone. Natasha remained silent. "How rude of me. I'm Octavian Bloom." Still seeing no visible reaction from the Black Widow, he continued. "The organization I represent was forced to ask you some questions, since you might be able to shed some light on a mystery we found ourselves in." Natasha is piecing together the clues the man is showing. The group he's with must be rich and powerful to be able to kill the original seller of the plutonium and impersonate him in front of the general, all just to ambush them. There might also be a leak inside S.H.I.E.L.D., and a high-clearance one at that, since the source of information came from Naruto. The chance of this group working with or buying information from Naruto is practically zero, since there is no indication of him working with illegal or terrorist groups. "You see, we are a little envious of some good fortune that fell on your hands," Bloom said with a shake of his head. "We heard you are being given high-quality information for virtually nothing. This Nine Tails is growing to be a big thorn on our side, and I have it on good authority that you might have an idea who it is." That sealed the deal for Natasha. These guys are looking for Naruto, hoping to get rid of him. Bloom signaled the guard to do something. The guard walked out and promptly returned, carrying a tablet and giving it to Bloom. He then scrawled with the tablet a bit before showing it to Natasha. She saw Clint and his team pinned down. "I can make sure they leave out of there alive and return to your precious shield." Natasha remained quiet. "Who would you choose? A man you almost know nothing about or your friend and partner?" Seeing that further incentives are required, Bloom scrawled at the tablet again and showed it to Natasha, and for the first time, a reaction was observed on her. "Oh, you remembered him, didn't you? The culmination of everything we have, the Winter Soldier. Quite an effective killer he is. What do you think would happen if he targeted Agent Barton?" Against everything she wanted to do, Natasha still kept her mouth shut. Death would come sooner or later for them all, and she accepted that fact for a long time. She would jeopardize one of the largest assets the world ever had against all that goes bump in the night, for the chance for all of them to live. "I see." Bloom removed his glasses and wiped it before placing it back again. "It's such a shame I can't change your mind." He retrieved a Cap 5cc syringe from his pocket and showed it to her. "This is another one of our innovations. The best truth serum ever produced. Only 1cc is needed to have someone to tell their darkest, deepest secret." Bloom saw Natasha's stare on the syringe. "You noticed it, didn't you? I have 5cc here to make sure you would talk since you have some resistance against drugs. Too bad you would die within 10 minutes, but what can you do?" Bloom removed the cap of the syringe and stabbed it in Natasha's thigh. Natasha took a deep breath and prepared herself to butte her tongue off the moment the plunger is pressed. But before Bloom can push the plunger down, an explosion reverberated through the room. "What was that?" Bloom stood up and stared at the door. "You and you. Check out what's happening." The 2 guards near the entrance unlocked their guns and exited the room. Distant gunfire and screams could be heard at the other side of the door. This startled Bloom and shouted to his guards. "Lock the door. Prepare yourselves." Bloom leaned his back on the far side of the room, while the remaining 6 guards all aimed towards the door. The screams are close now. Pounding on the door and pleas for them to open it can be heard. The guards tensed up and prepared to fire. Natasha felt fear towards whatever causes that kind of screams. It must be truly horrific to be on the other side of the door. As fast as the chaos started, the screaming suddenly stopped. Everyone in the room could see blood rolling under the door. The guards stepped behind Natasha to create distance from the door, but this proved to be the wrong move. The earth between Natasha and the guards are suddenly pierced with what looks like black threads. The threads pierced the torso of all the guards and ripped them apart in a shower of blood. Natasha didn't see what happened, but based on the blood and entrails around the room, it must be a brutal kill. Bloom, on the other hand, saw everything and understandably puke and shat all at the same time due to fear and the brutality of the kill. The door slowly creaked open, which should be impossible since it was locked from the inside, revealing body pieces on the floor. A man walked towards their view, and for the first time, they saw who is massacring everyone. He wore a black sleeveless top, pants, arm sleeves, and sandals on top of all that are metallic flak jacket, bracers, and shin guards. The man hid his identity using a white mask with a picture of a fox. The man looked around before staring at Natasha and walked towards her. He leaned down and moved his face in front of her. She waited for her to be ripped apart just like all the others, but what she heard next made her completely relax. "Hey Nat. It looks like you're in a bind," the man said to her. Natasha recognized that voice. Racing through her memories, she finally found a match around 2 years ago. Steeling herself, she asked quietly, "Naruto?" Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.